From news and views, issues and opportunities, we'll have in-depth conversations with decision makers to find out what they know and what they think. I'm Rico Hizon, inviting you to join the exchange because your business is our business. 3 billion pesos a week. That's how much the economy loses when movement is limited because of higher alert levels. But while the economic team says the impact is much less this time around against previous lockdowns, businesses say frequently changing pandemic response policies does not help them recover from the health crisis, even as they have to always be on the lookout for the welfare of their staff to prevent infection and work disruption. Will rapid antigen self-test kits help better monitor workplace safety? And what does it take for a business to thrive during these tough times? The vision of a real estate company's success in our C-Suite vision. A number of high-risk areas, including Metro Manila, will stay under the mid-level alert level number 3 until the end of the month. And this means businesses will again have to adjust operations and recalibrate targets as mobility is restricted and people hunker down again in their homes to stay safe from the virus. Let's now have an exchange with Management Association of the Philippines President Alfredo Pascual to talk about the challenges faced by the business sector. Mr. Pascual, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us, is the no vax, no ride policy having an impact on businesses?
Well, for those in Metro Manila, the findings that we have in a quick survey we did was that our members do not anticipate a major impact as compared to the very adverse impact they suffered in the very strict lockdowns earlier on in the pandemic.
But with this no vax, no ride policy, how are companies tweaking their operations?
Well, as you know, the work from home mode of operation has become very common among the member companies of MEP. More than 50% or more than 60% have adopted the work from home mode of operation. And also the shift towards greater use of technology, particularly digital technology in communication among the staff members of the companies.
So in your view, Mr. Pascual, for how much longer should this initiative of the no vax, no ride policy be in place?
It's hard, because the unseen enemy that we face cannot be predicted. How it evolves, how it further mutates. But of course, scientists have been saying more recently that this might be almost at the tail end of the whole pandemic, the kind of Omicron virus variant that we have now.
So if this policy continues for maybe a few more weeks and a couple of months, you don't think your members don't believe that this will have a significant impact on their businesses and the overall economy?
Overall economy, yes, definitely, because the service-oriented companies or businesses will be adversely affected because people will not be able to reach out to these service operations wherever they are. And it's quite unfair, to impose this no vax, no ride policy, given that the vaccination rate in the Philippines is just, 53% or so. How could that be, that we will not allow no vax, no ride? I heard that that in DepEd, for example, there was a statement, I don't know how true this is, that they're saying they will not discriminate against teachers who are not vaccinated, so long as the proper protocols are observed, I guess.
But you have
on the average right now, Mr. Pascual, at least 30,000 infections a day. And these are record highs over a
Yeah.
2-year period during this pandemic. What do you think should be the solution if it's a no-vax, no-ride policy?
Okay. In the first place, maybe we're looking at the wrong variable. It's not so much the number of infections, but how much is the increase in infection affecting our healthcare service capability? I think even with a big rise in infection, our healthcare facilities have not yet reached fully loaded stage of operation.
And Mr. Pascual, you know, Omicron is really more transmissible than the other variants of concern. And I know friends of friends, relatives who have contracted, COVID. And a lot of them are working now from home. And as this materializes, labor groups are now vehemently calling for a pandemic leave bill. If this materializes, can this be shouldered by private sector companies?
Well, you know very well the answer. Unless revenues flow in, definitely not. So those that depend on personal service will be adversely affected. Of course, businesses are very enterprising. Many have adopted the delivery method of serving their clients.
Does the association, Mr. Pascual, favor its employees doing home self-test kits? And does MAP believe in the mandatory vaccination of employees?
Well, many of the companies I know have taken the full responsibility of doing the vaccination of their employees. So I say in Metro Manila, the vaccination rate is rather high. It should be in the 90s. Companies have become responsible at this stage of the game. They have taken that responsibility of ensuring that their employees are protected and ensuring that their employees do not spread the virus. So they have internal protocols, and they police their own ranks. I know of companies shutting down divisions or departments because of widespread infection among the employees.
Thank you so much for this exchange. Management Association of the Philippines President Alfredo Pascual. And now here's a rundown of some of the week's top business stories. Agriculture Department faces heavy criticism over the importation of 60,000 metric tons of fish to augment food supply. And this includes a Filipino staple and a favorite of many, the galunggong. Public officials and advocacy groups say this will hurt the local fishing industry. A preliminary study by the Asian Development Bank says the Philippines lags behind its neighbors in returning to pre-pandemic growth rates, citing the long-term effects of the pandemic on the country's employment sector. And investors gave newcomer House Stock a warm welcome in its stock market debut. Its shares closed above its offering price. The low-income housing developer is the first company to list at the stock exchange this year, trading in the small, medium, and emerging board. And when we come back on the exchange, where your business is our business, to speed up the rollout of booster shots against COVID-19, the government is getting help from pharmacies and clinics. And we take a look at self-test kits for COVID-19 as a viable alternative to the more expensive methods for coronavirus detection. The founder and CEO of LabX joins us next. Glad you're staying with us right here on the exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Nearly 11 months into the vaccination program, 5 pharmacies and 2 clinics in Metro Manila have started giving booster shots in a government effort to increase vaccine coverage. Officials say the Res Bakuna sa mga butika program will help ease pressure on vaccination sites manned by local governments and the Department of Health. People age 18 and above, except for senior citizens and people with comorbidities, can get their booster shots in pharmacies. Pre-registration is needed. Details are available on the drugstore's social media accounts. For our unvaccinated or partially vaccinated kababayans, they can go to 2 pilot clinics for their primary series vaccines. The clinics may also give booster doses to adults, including senior citizens and persons with comorbidities. After the week-long pilot run, the program will be rolled out in other parts of the country. At least 500,000 doses need to be administered daily in the country to achieve the target of giving boosters to 72 million Filipinos this year. Well, the Food and Drug Administration has yet to approve self-administered rapid antigen tests for use in the country. Because of this, our kababayans have to rely on RT-PCR tests, which cost at least 2,000 pesos and 2 to 3 days to get the results. An alternative is the antigen rapid test at health centers, which costs about 1,000 pesos. Let's now have an exchange with LabX founder and CEO, Thomas Lavasero, on antigen self-test kits. Tom, thank you so much for joining us. LabX manufactures antigen test kits. Why do we need to test ourselves at home and not in clinics and hospitals?
Well, the very important thing here is we must test before we are mobile. Once we step out of our house and we are potentially positive, we will continue to spread and never end this pandemic. So if we can test at home or test in our, secured area before we step out and visit those who are high risk or have comorbidity, we can truly keep them safe and stop the spread.
But what is the difference between these antigen home test kits vis-a-vis the antigen test kits that are offered by clinics and hospitals and the RT-PCR? What is the effectiveness?
So the first thing is the professional antigen test is to be done only or administered by a health professional, which is our test kit. So we have to abide to the FDA that there is no home use or self-test. So we provide a health professional to administer and to interpret the results.
Right.
The problem here, Rico, is there's a lot of kits now being sold in the market online and offline in Divisoria, and there is no guidance and there is no health professional guiding that. And that's why the FDA released today a circular warning the public that there is still no self-test kit approved and they should not buy just these test kits that are sold on the streets. So hopefully one of our 3 submissions to the FDA we submitted last week will come out with good record with the FDA, and we support their want to approve a self-test kit or home use test kit, because this truly reduces the cost, speeds up the testing, and secures families at home and gives peace of mind.
All right, if an individual is at home, he gets this area test kit, how does it work? How can he gain the assistance of a health professional?
Well, before we would have to send the health professional to their home. That's a home test. But because of telemedicine and telehealth, we developed a new telemedicine platform called teletesting. And we've been doing this for clients in the UK, Virgin Air clients, people traveling to the US, because they have to get tested one day before they fly to the US. And the only way to do that is to be done at home. And so the UK allows that. And we are the, call it back office or testing partner for those airlines in the UK and Europe. Another application is for large corporations like Disney, where we provide the testing behind the scenes so that they can make sure that their employees are certified negative and can go to work. And this is all done here in BGC, and it's an amazing new industry that we've developed, and we hope to grow that not only domestically but globally.
Well, Omicron now is, the new variant of concern. It is more transmissible. We have friends, relatives who have been infected with Omicron. Can these antigen test kits detect Omicron and other variants of concern?
Yes, all good antigen tests that have high specificity and sensitivity will detect all variants of concern, because we don't look at what we call S proteins, but we look at the nucleocapsid protein. This is the larger part, or the antigen, and that has the least, mutations, or we don't look at the genes. So if the genetic material changes, right, which is used by RT-PCR, regardless, we are agnostic to the variant of concern. We will detect that COVID-19 virus, no matter if it's Omicron, Delta, or Beta. But we cannot decipher or differentiate which one is which. Only next-gen sequencing can be used to differentiate which variant you obtained.
Tom, Omicron is more transmissible, as we've been discussing, and symptoms appear much earlier than other variants. When is the best time to get tested? The day you are deemed a close contact, or when symptoms start to appear?
Well, the medical industry would say 3 days after potential exposure. But in the real world, the Omicron is incubating very fast. It's definitely faster than Delta. What we do here in our office, we test daily, so we will catch it. Other companies and other people will test every 3 days or 3 times a week. But our policy here is we test daily, especially during this surge. And when that quiets down, we'll probably go back to once a week, every Monday, when everyone enters our bubble of our workplace.
You say daily testing. For a lot of kababayans, they can't also afford daily testing. So what is the alternative here if they cannot spend on daily testing, Tom?
Well, the best thing we can do if we can't test, right? And if the government will not follow Biden's, initiative where he's now sending self-test kits to every home in America, I don't think we can do that in this country, but possibly we can if we can lower the cost of testing. But most important, Rico, like the jab no ride issue, just make sure that the passengers wear a quality mask. The Omicron is highly transmissible, so our so-called surgical masks or cloth masks or sponge masks, those are not good. I recommend N95s. It has been proven to keep people safe. So if they don't have vaccine, at least make sure that they wear a mask, an N95 mask, when they travel and it's properly worn.
Thank you so much for this self-test kit exchange. LabX founder and CEO, Thomas Navasero. And still to come on the exchange, where your business is our business, this property company plans to put up a global business district in Bulacan. We speak to MegaWorld about this project. Plus, we give you a glimpse at the Expo 2020 in Dubai, served by this one-of-a-kind barista from the future. Welcome back right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Metro Manila's attraction as a country's economic hub has resulted in overcrowding and congestion. Urban planners have called for the development of the regions as a way to decongest the capital. One property giant heeds the call in its plan to build a self-contained township in Bulacan, north of Manila, that will also host a number of businesses. Let's now have an exchange with Noli Hernandez, Executive Vice President for Sales and Marketing of MegaWorld, to talk more about this project. Noli, thank you so much for joining us on the exchange. We are about to enter the second year of the COVID-19 pandemic this March. What innovations have you implemented to ensure that the business is growing and expanding, especially when it comes to selling your products?
Well, Rico, I like to think of MegaWorld as having been founded 32 years ago, not just to develop properties, but mostly to unlock values where such values could be found. And of course, the key to this process is our culture, or our constant search for innovations. And we have a long list of innovations that we have introduced to the market, but I think one of the most important one is our live, work, play, learn concept that we have introduced some years back. And this has been a game changer in the industry. Another innovation that we have come up with along the way is our introduction to the country of the first business process outsourcing companies. And that has, as you know, spawned an entire industry, the BPO industry, and eventually became one of the major engines or drivers of growth for the economy. But most pertinent to our discussion now here is our early recognition of the importance of digitalization. And that's exactly what we have done prior to the pandemic. So that when the pandemic hit, when we started to see a series of lockdowns, we were very, very prepared to meet all contingencies.
Well, innovation, digitalization really improved the digital platform over the past 2 years during this pandemic. And despite these challenges, Noli, MegaWorld remains optimistic about the current business environment. Your 28th township project in the Philippines is underway. Master plan similar to New York City's Fifth Avenue. What are the top features of the Northwind Global City?
Well, first let's talk about New York City because, it's something that has inspired a lot of other cities in the world. What makes a global city? A global city obviously is a lot of things to a lot of people. And it can be for business people and investors. It can be the headquarters for their operations and expansion. For students, it can be a playground of the imagination. For shop owners, it can be just a proving ground for their ideas. But for a lot of people, a global city is simply home. With Northwind Global City, we have been presented with this unique opportunity to reimagine what a global city can be and to bring it to Bulacan. So, that's just our guiding principle when we imagined the kind of importance that's attached to the location of any development. And, we thought that the only way that we can do justice to the strategic location of Northwind Global City is to turn it into a real global city. And, obviously the most important feature of Northwind Global City is its very, very prime location. It serves as a gateway to Metro Manila itself. This township is straddling both the NLEX and the MacArthur Highway on two sides. And more importantly, it's going to be a host to a very, very major station of the Manila-Clark Railway project of the Philippine National Railways. And when you look at the map, you can see very clearly how this places the township just an hour away from NAIA, an hour away from Clark International Airport, and an hour away from even BGC. It's only 20 minutes away from the connector of the NLEX to the South Luzon Expressway. So that makes it really, really strategic. Of course, you add to that the proximity of the project to the upcoming new Manila International Airport in Bulacan, Bulacan. And as well, there's the revitalized port of Manila. So what you see here, with all these features that we have put in, among others, what you see here, Rico, basically is the making not just of Bulacan's first ever central business district, but Bulacan's first and MegaWorld's first truly global city. As you've mentioned, this is our 28th township, but we have never done anything like this before.
So it will really have a tremendous economic and business impact on Bulacan and the nearby areas. And according to your company, Noli, 40% of the entire township development will be dedicated to green and open spaces. How is this different from other township projects that also have green spaces?
Well, that's another thing, Rico, that makes our Northwind Global City unique and special. Contrary to most people's expectations or even impressions, a global city does not have to be just a collection of tall buildings. Of course, there's that. It doesn't have to just be a center for commerce. Of course, there's that. But a global city, for it to be a truly global city, it has to also be resilient and sustainable. And what does it mean? At the end of the day, businesses and investments and commerce, everything is all about people. So you cannot and people demand space, and that's what we offer in Northwind Global City. We thought that we could not, as I've mentioned, do it justice without making sure that there's ample space for businesses, for investors, and for residents to have that feeling of expansive, aesthetic, and that is exactly what we're trying to do in Northwind Global City. When you look at 40%, it represents a tremendous chunk of otherwise saleable area. But for us, MegaWorld, it just represents a tremendous added value to the project and to the residents, the tenants, and the workers. So but for me, Rico, personally, all it means is more open space equals fresher air, a safer and better environment for our children. And at the end of the day, a beautiful and inspiring place. And at the end of when all is said and done, I think we all need the inspiration we can get. So this is going to be a very inspiring environment for everybody.
Impressive urban planning. How can our viewers know more about this Northwind project?
Well, they can find us. They can find our official Facebook page at facebook.com/Northwind Global City.
Thank you so much for this real estate exchange. Noli Hernandez, Executive Vice President for Sales and Marketing of MegaWorld. And before we go, we bring you to Dubai. One event is gathering the world despite this health crisis. The Expo 2020 showcases culture, technology, and opportunities for sustainability. CNN's Richard Quest immerses us in an eye-opening experience at a cafe served by a very unusual barista.
I want a cup of coffee, and this contraption is going to make it for me. All right, here we go. And I'm going to choose a latte, regular milk. Well, don't need to worry about that, do we? No. Okay, check out. You want to take a picture? No. Not in the light. So first of all, hang on, sorry. Keep recording. Clean the thing. All right, let's go. There's my coffee. Where's it going to give it me? Here we are. Oh, it's going to go here. Thank you. I'm saying thank you to a robot. Thank you very much. Cheers. That is a thing of beauty. Although I must confess, it's a bit weird to drink your own face. But I do taste very good. Oh, sorry, Richard.
Mix it up, Richard. Richard Quest and the Robo Barista at the Dubai 2020. And this is the exchange who makes sense of the facts and the figures and the ups and downs of the business cycle, because your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Thanks for watching CNN Philippines. News you can use. News you can trust.